Welcome to the Book Boyfriend podcast, where we dish on everything from the alpha male to the sensitive soul. If you found yourself lusting after a fictional character, you've come to the right place. Here's your hosts, Faith Andrews, Elizabeth Grace, Livia Jammerland, and B.A. Wolf.
Hey everyone, B.A. Wolf here with our Book Boyfriend podcast. The ladies that you love have been on a summer break, but we are back with episode 10. That's right, double digits everyone. This is a pretty big moment. We are going to be discussing The Education of Sebastian and The Education of Caroline. It is a two-part book, so we'll do part one first and then part two. But first, let's take a ride around the block with the ladies. What's everyone been up to, Elle?
Oh, I am working on finishing the novel that I'm writing and giving away through my newsletter, Built to Last. And I started a new project today that I can't talk about, but that you girls know about. And I'm also dabbling a little bit in the super secret project, so I'm a little bit of
Mum's word. Okay.
secret gatekeep mode right now.
Sorry,
what about you? Liv, what are you working on?
Nothing. I am enjoying summer. I really, really am. I'm enjoying my little one, who's almost one already. I feel like when we started this podcast, he was just born, and now he's almost one. So it's like celebrating two things. I was planning on writing Gus a story, and he's just not talking to me. And so I can't force it. And when he decides to talk to me, or a different character decides to talk to me, I'll decide to write something. For now, I'm just enjoying life. I'm working out, reading a lot. So I don't know. What are you working, Barb?
So I just announced about a month ago that I have one of my secret projects is a novella that is now turned novel. Shocker! Woo! Surprise there. It's Jace's novel, companion novel to Away. So hopefully that should be coming out. I'm shooting for September, so fingers crossed on that one. So his cover will be coming next, and I'm really excited. So Jess, you can see, is not with us tonight. She is unable to make it. Faith, as you would know her, but she does send her regard. So let's get on with this awesome podcast, and I'm going to read you both blurbs. The first part is The Education of Sebastian. Trapped in a loveless marriage, 30-year-old Caroline Wilson moves to San Diego after her military husband earns a promotion. Feeling lost and alone, Caroline strikes up a friendship with young local surfer Sebastian Hunter. Sebastian has more than friendship on his mind when he runs into Caroline on the beach. But when sparks fly, friendships turn into an illicit love that threatens both. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, so part two is The Education of Caroline. Now a successful journalist, Caroline heads out to report from the front lines of the war in Afghanistan. Love is the last thing on her mind when she crosses paths with Marine Chief Sebastian Hunter. Will this chance encounter reignite the erotic passion of their past? So you can see that there's definitely going to be a time gap between the two books, but from the three of us, we can tell you it was a fantastic time gap, and you are going to very much so appreciate old Sebastian. Let's go ahead and talk about how they meet. Elizabeth?
Okay, so the first book picks up, and Caro, as she's known throughout the book to people she knows, Caro is returning to San Diego with her husband, who is a nasty man, but we'll get to that later. But she's returning to San Diego with her husband, who works as a doctor in the Navy. So her husband's at work one day. She decides to go to the beach and check it out, and when she's sitting there, a teenage boy comes up and basically is like, Caroline, and she kind of, it takes her a minute, but she recognizes him as Sebastian, who I think it was about 8 years previous when they lived in San Diego. He used to come as like a small boy, I guess he would have been 9 or 10, and hang out with Caroline and her father, who was from Italy, and they did, they ate Italian things, they talked Italian, they listened to Italian operas, and she really made an impression on Sebastian, and so he remembered her. So when he saw her again, he came up to introduce himself, and Caroline was, I guess, would we say shocked, at
Very shocked.
how at the young man that he was becoming. And that's where the story picks up.
Okay, so we obviously know that Caroline's in the book. So let's talk about our thoughts on Caroline, what we liked best about her. For me, I liked her sweet disposition. I thought that she was a very caring woman. Her and David didn't have any kids. So I loved how she took Sebastian in when he was younger and her dad was still around, and they kind of taught him things and like took him in as part of the family. I really felt for her and the way David treated her. It's like he stole her life away. He stole her personality. He put her in this, box of what he wanted her to be. And so you could tell that Caroline wanted to become something different, but she never would. And so there was a quote in the book about David. It says, David managed to find fault with everything that evening. My cooking, the clothes I'd packed for him, the way I'd ironed his shirt and pants, probably even the amount of air I was inconveniently breathing. He was an asshole, for a better form of words. He was just a jerk. He didn't like her and he didn't appreciate her, and you wondered why she stayed with him. But you can tell that she's obviously growing, hence the education part of the books. What about you, Elle? What did you think?
Well, if I'm honest, I didn't like her much where the book picked up. I liked the old Carol, like when they were talking about her and her dad and Sebastian, who she was back then, sounded really good. I didn't love her at the beginning. And it was more just I think it's just because I'm like a person that's like, you're not happy, like take charge of your life, do something. Although I understand her position. So when she started to like fight back on David and push back a bit more, that's when I really started to like her. Mm-hmm. And I did like her. I kind of was frustrated with like, why is she taking this shit from this guy? Like, say something. So I guess that wraps up my feelings. Liv, what about you?
I agree with you, Elle. I didn't like her in the beginning, but I kind of understand. She married David when she was, I guess, 18, 19. She didn't know any better, and you get to the point in your marriage that you're just complacent. It's a routine. So I get where she was in the beginning, and it wasn't until Sebastian came and showed her that she can actually grow and teach her things that, you fight for what you want, that she began to change. But I will say this book had me craving Italian food the whole time.
I know, right?
And, like, she was just, like, this great cook, and I just wanted to eat, like, her little Italian delicacies and all of this, and you pairing up, like, I drank more coffee when I was reading this book because I'm just like, I just want coffee because she's drinking coffee. So I will say that's one thing I really loved about her was her cooking. Barb, you went, right?
Yes, it was kind of like she put her passion that she couldn't do anything else into her cooking.
Yes.
Like, that's what she kind of did. It was very frustrating watching someone treat her this way. And so I think I completely agree with you girls. So now let's get to young Sebastian. This was a hard one for in the book. For me, I'll go ahead and go first. My thoughts on Sebastian. He was really innocent. He was very immature. And as someone who came from the army, I didn't expect this. But then once you get to meet his parents and how he's treated, you kind of understand that he was very neglected as a child, and that's kind of why he clung on to Caroline and her dad when they were there. There's a few things, though, that I did. There was one thing that I loved and one thing that kind of got me off guard. The thing that caught me off guard with Sebastian was him and Caroline were on the beach, and they've already kind of initiated their relationship. He's giving her a massage. He gets really excited. He goes, I've got another boner. He admitted, sounded embarrassed. And I'm just like, okay, it was just different for me. It wasn't like these alpha males that we read, and I was just kind of like, this is very different. And the one thing I do love is that he would call her yes, ma'am. That gets me like no other. I don't know why I love it. If you call me yes, ma'am, I'd be like, okay, hey, let's go.
You know why? Because you're not approaching 40 yet. When you approach 40, you'll be like, don't call me ma'am.
It's just like this awesome, like, yes, I'm going to obey you. This is what you, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I love it. What about you, Liv? What are your thoughts on Mr. Sebastian?
Young Sebastian, I love that he carried, even older Sebastian, he really carried his emotions on his sleeve. But I liked him when he was younger. His parents were assholes. Like, they just should have never had kids. And even through all of that, like, he was always trying to better himself and do all that other stuff with Carol. Like, he would tell her he loved her regardless what. And I don't know, I liked him, but like Barb had said, he was a little too
Innocent.
he wasn't 17 in my head. Like, in my head, he was like 14. Like, that's just the mentality I think he had. Maybe because from where I'm from, the 17-year-old boys do not act like that. But that was just me.
But we've read books before. Like, I think you and I were talking about this, where they're just fresh out of high school and getting into college. So they're even in that 18-year range. And they're way more experienced, way more, like, into life. So it was hard. What about you, Elle?
Things I liked about Sebastian. I loved how pure his feelings were for Caroline. I liked the innocence of him in the sense of, like, he really believed that them loving each other was enough. You know, he doesn't have enough, like, worldly experience to understand that you're going to have all these pressures beyond just, like, loving each other, and they're going to, you know, nick away at that love. So which, you know, is a little naive, but I liked that part about him. And like Liv said, he's just always willing to say how he felt. He wasn't, you know, he didn't hide his feelings in typical guy fashion. He was just like, you knew he was all in, you know, to the point that it scared Caroline sometimes. But that's what I liked about him at his young age.
I was calling him stage 5 clinger at some points.
But Carol, I want to keep your bra.
I was like, awkward.
I cannot keep my bra. Like, what is this?
My boobs are flapping in the air. Dude, give me bra back.
Okay, so they have their first time together. And this is also a pivotal moment in the book because we also come to find out that he's not 18. He's actually 17, which legal age doesn't permit that. So Caroline finds out what a heap of trouble she's in, what a mess this is. So their first time together for me, I thought it was really sweet. The way it came about for me, I thought it was like she did it to help him because she knew how broken he was. He just got in a fight with his parents, and she found him, and when she got him, this was also another moment that I was kind of like, oh, innocent Sebastian. When, you know, she goes to touch him, and he automatically
jizzes.
Gets excited. There you go. Okay. It's the double fisting.
I love the
words
too,
for
like,
me.
Gets excited. Jizzes.
Jizzes. Like, I'm the erotic romance author here.
Now I'm trying to make it sound all swarthy here. Okay, so he jizzes, and he's really embarrassed. He cries. He crumbles on the floor. She takes him in her arms, and she's like, it's okay, come here, and she leads him back to the bedroom, and that's where they have their first time. To me, this was really sweet and innocent. It wasn't like your first romp in some alpha-dominating male book. I really thought that she did this for him, but at the end, it turned out like she needed it more because she never got this physical attention from David. What did you feel, Elle?
I thought the same. I thought it was more about like comfort than being like hot and heavy and in the moment. It was more like each of them seeking a connection with each other. And as far as when she found out about him only being 17, I think I would have reacted the same. Like, mother hell, as Babs would say. Like, what did I just do? Because it, like, there's already a wrongness about it, and that just brings it to a whole new level because now it's like illegal and you could go to jail and there's a whole other set of problems that come with it. So I think I would have freaked out like she did and been like, oh my God, this can never happen again. You know, like, we can't tell anybody. So I thought that was kind of spot on. What about you, Liv?
I thought their first time together was perfect. I thought, you know, this was at a point where her husband was an asshole to her again, and his parents were dicks to him, and he, you know, she found him he was sitting down and she found him with like a busted lip, and he went and started, like, she shaved his hair, and so she was kind of mothering him, which is probably like the wrong word to use. I know. I just said it now and I'm like, maybe not mothering, but you know, she was there for him. And so even though he jizzed a little early, she kind of needed it as well. She needed that comfort from a man. She needed that love, emotion, and connection that she wasn't getting from her husband. She just needed that attention, somebody to, you know, love her. And unlike her, where I would have been like, all right, dude, you just like, seriously? Like, what am I working with? She actually taught him, you know, that it's okay. And in the end, he ended up being there for her. So it kind of, to me, it was perfect.
So it kind of leads us into the next question. There's a lot of push and pull between Sebastian and Carol. She's extremely hung up on her age and his age, especially finding out that he's 17, and I feel she has every right to be. I did think she kept continuing to make herself appear like she was an 80-year-old woman when she's only 30, and I see nothing wrong with the age of 30. So take that, Caro, because for real. But so this is a first real love for him, but a first real love for her too. So to me, the age gap thing, part of me thought at first that it was just her vying for love because her husband didn't give her any, and his parents never gave him love. But then towards the end of book one, you start to see that they both taught each other so many things. So I was okay with the age gap. What about you, Elle?
I was fine with it. Like, it had the potential to be skeezy for sure, because, I mean, you know, he wasn't even legal. But I think because you got to see the whole story and see how much they cared about each other, like, it didn't feel wrong to me. You know, it could have very easily could have slipped into that, and for me, it never did.
What about you, Liv?
17-year-old Sebastian and 30-year-old Carol, I was like, I could see it. I started thinking about hiring a young pool boy for myself, like, just to, you know, no, just kidding, I'm kidding. But
winky face.
Winky face. But 27-year-old Sebastian and 40-year-old Carol, like, that's a different story, which we'll get to towards the end of the podcast, but hello. Yes, I was all about older Sebastian. 17, I'm like, he doesn't even know what to do with it, clearly. But, sorry. And that's,
what's this part that's down there?
What?
It gets bigger.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so what goes up must come down. Fires always burn out. Carol and Sebastian have been caught. So this brings us to the end of book one. Question, were you waiting for this moment to happen, and what were your thoughts on how it went down? Elle?
Oh, I was so waiting. I mean, you knew it was coming. You knew at some point, like, the shoe had to drop, so to speak, and it pretty much went down how I figured. Everybody freaked out. I thought there would be threats made to Carol from his parents, probably, and which they did. They said, you know, if you go near my son again, ever talk to my son again, we're calling the authorities, sort of leaving her no choice but to back away. But no, I was, like, anxiously awaiting it to see what happened. What about you, Liv?
I like fires. I like playing with fires. I like to call myself a pyro. So my fire was definitely burning. I loved the whole back and forth between them, and, like, are they going to get caught? Are they not going to get caught? Oh, his friend found out. Oh, they didn't find out. I just wanted them to be caught in the act for whatever reason. I loved it how it happened. Like, it was completely unexpected because she was waiting for David. She was waiting to tell her husband, I'm done. We're done. I'm moving on. Like, I can't be with you anymore. And then all of a sudden, Sebastian and his parents knock on the door. But I was kind of expecting, like, when she was at his house, that his mom would walk in, or when they were together, David would walk in. I was kind of expecting that way. But I like playing with fire, so I was all for it. Barb?
So I was totally waiting for it to happen. I think everybody does when there's cheating and scandal involved in a book. I was like Liv. I was completely expecting it to go down with the fact that David would find him in his side of the bed, which still's like, okay. That's okay. It's neither here nor now. Or the mom finding him. I didn't expect it to go down the way it did. But that makes me really happy because I'm not for predictable books. I want to be completely surprised, and I was completely surprised. The quote that he says at the end, though, that Sebastian said, killed me. It gutted me. I'll always love you, Caro. Don't give up on us. Please don't give up. I'll wait for you. It's only 3 years. I love you. Oh, baby Sebastian, you have so much to learn. Okay, so book two. The reason we're all here, guys. This is it. This is the big shebang. So 10 years later, Caroline's turning the big 40. She's a journalist living in Brooklyn. She's preparing to leave on her next assignment overseas to Afghanistan, where she'll document the war. But before she can enter the battlefield, she has to take classes to better prepare herself along with other journalists. So it's her first day of class. 2 men are teaching while waiting for the last one to show up. He's very late. So the man finally shows up halfway through the class, and dun dun dun, it is none other than Hottie McHotterson Sebastian. So one drink leads to feelings unleashing that both had bottled up for 10 years. When Caro's paperwork takes longer to process and Sebastian is on leave before he heads to war, the two decide to take a trip they've always talked about, traveling across France and Italy on the back of his mean machine. Okay, what do we think of our new confident Caro? Liv?
I love her. I was all about book 2. I was like, yes. Like, I'm like scared. Sometimes you're always afraid that book 2 might not be as great as book 1, but I was like, I'm totally loving this. And I feel that in the 10 years that they were apart, she kind of found herself. You know, she married her husband very young. I felt like she never had her kind of own independence. She never knew who she was as a female, as a woman. And now she was 40. She knew where her career was. She knew what she wanted. And she was a brand new Carol. So I loved her. I thought she was, and she was quick with her words, and she was like on it. Elle, what about you? What did you think?
Oh, same. I liked her much better. She's like a confident woman who didn't need a man. Although I will say, I think that she gave, when they meet back up again, I think she gave Sebastian a harder time than he deserved. Like, for like a harder time and like longer than needed.
I would have been like, oh yes, here's my room, come back.
Yeah, totally, right? I mean, because it's like, it was no one's fault, like they're split, right? Mm-hmm. So I just, I think she didn't have to be so mean to Sebastian. But yeah, what about you, Babs?
Loved her. It's like, I get to book 2. This is the book I've been waiting for. Like, these are the books that enthrall me, that make me stay up till 2 reading. I loved that she wasn't consumed with her freaking age. Like, okay, 30 was a big deal for her, but not 40. 40, she's like, I'm mighty fine. This is what I am. This is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. She didn't need a man to be happy. She just was, and I loved it. And I completely agree. She gave Sebastian a way harder time than he deserved. He was shocked as shit. You can imagine his final words to her, and he didn't see her in those 10 years. So, yeah, he's going to be hurt and pissed. So I think he reacted appropriately. Yeah, except for the first night, drunk, almost, taking advantage of her. But that was stupid on her part to put up a fight, so whatever. She deserved it. Okay. Okay, so let's talk 27-year-old Sebastian. First thoughts. Liv, go.
Gimme. Like,
Mine.
Like, I'm sorry, give me. I was, that's my first reaction. Elle, what about you?
Yeah, I wrote down hot damn. Because, like, he's just all that in a bag of potato chips. He was so awesome. I loved him. He was just, like, manly and, like...
in uniform.
Yeah,
with,
yeah.
Like, a snarky mouth.
Yeah, and he spoke all these languages. Like, so he's, intelligent, to top it all. Like, yeah, no, he was just, like, awesome.
And he knew what to do in the bedroom. He was experienced.
Yep. But he still had that sweetness to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like that he had when he's young, where he's totally willing to express his feelings.
Yeah.
And loves deeply. He's not afraid to love, which she says at some point in the book.
Okay.
Which I liked. Yeah. What about you, Babs?
Oh, I loved that he was cocky and he was pissed at her. I loved that. I loved that he was a chief. Yum. Hello. And I love that he wore a leather jacket because I can just smell it right now. Oh, so it's like just in that muscular body. So it's just like the one word, just he's heaven. He's pure heaven. Like I can't even. What was the moment you fell in love with Sebastian in book 2? Liv.
The beginning? Like, when I know it's going to be everybody's quote, so I'm trying to be different. It's gonna be the one that Elle picked. It's always been you, Caro. Like he's sitting there and he's crying, though he tried to take advantage of her, and she like kind of pushed him off, and then she realizes he's really just crying. He's just, and you're just like, I really, 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 really love you. I really love you. Like, woman, just massage his back and give him what he wants. Elle, what about you?
Yeah, no, that was my moment too. Yeah. that was my moment too. I think he was, what was he doing right before that? I think she was asking him why do you want to be with me? Why don't you want to be with girls your age? Like, because he had just made a crack about her older women at the country club. And he was like, oh shit, like, realized his mistake. And she's like, no, like, it is what it is. But I don't understand. Why would you want to be with me and not, someone your own age? And that's when he said, it's always been you, Carol. The first time I saw you, I thought you were the most beautiful girl that I'd ever seen. I thought you must be a princess, like Cinderella. It's only ever been you. And, like, that's going back to when he was a child, I'm assuming, by that, he meant. So that, for me, was like, oh, I love this boy. Wasn't in lust with him yet because he's a boy, but, yeah. What about you, Babs?
Okay, so they're riding on his mean machine, which is what she calls his bike. They're riding through the Alps. He's talked her into finally spending a day with him, and she's agreed, which, again, like Al said, she's kind of giving him a little bit too much of a hard time because really, he didn't do anything wrong. So she agrees to finally go with him. They're on his mean machine, and they stop for coffee halfway in. She gets off his bike, and he asks her if she's cold, and she says, yes, just my hands. Without saying, and this is a quote from the book, without saying a word, he took my hands in his and lifted them to his lips, heating them with his warm breath and rubs them gently. Done. Yeah. I mean, I've loved Sebastian starting in book 2, like the minute we saw his cocky ass grin. But this part was just beautiful. Like that shows his sweet side. Like he was both alpha and now his sweet side. So that to me was like, oh. So this brings us to our most swoon-worthy moment. Elle?
Oh, okay. Mine was, so they're in Zurich. I think Zurich, right? And she's just seen him for the first time. He's coming in the class, and he's given her, like, some major attitude because he's shocked, obviously, that Carol's in his class. So he goes off and gets drunk, and then he ends up knocking on her hotel room door and coming in and, pushing his way in, really, and, being just drunk with her, like, and annoying. And he tries to, like, force himself on her, basically, and she's like, get off, he's trying to kiss her and opens her robe and stuff, and she's like, get off, Sebastian, you're scaring me. And then he gets off, and then she's like, I can't remember what she says, but something like, what the hell do you think you're doing? Like, why are you even here? And he just, like, breaks down sobbing, and this is the quote from the book. Why didn't you come back, he sobbed. I waited and waited for you, like I said I would, but you never came back. Why? Why didn't you come back? I love you, I love you, I love you. And then he passed out. But but that quote, like, I just see, because he's been so emotional, like, through all the books, I can just see him, like, sobbing, like, and just being so sad. Like, I waited. I can see him waiting for years, and she just never came. And yeah, that's mine.
What about you, Liv?
So there's a lot of sex in this book.
Hell yeah.
And it was the book 1 sex was really great, and book 2 sex was really great. But this sex was my swoon-worthy moment because I just felt like I was really in the moment with them. He held his weight on his forearms and gradually increased the speed. I felt the cool metal of his dog tags on my skin over my heart, which was beating fiercely fast, as my body began to respond again and again. Death by orgasm. What a way to go. And I was like, oh, I'm just so in love with this guy. Like, I know it's not my typical swoon-worthy moment because he didn't say anything or it wasn't like a quote from him, because he was poetic from the very beginning. If I'm really going to go and say a swoon-worthy moment, I could go back to the first time he touched her on the beach and she's like, Sebastian, I'm married. And he's like, but I've always loved you. And I'm like, you can really go back to that. So I went with that little part because I really wanted to comment on that quote. What about you, Barb?
And those dog tags. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, chief.
Yes, chief. Okay, so my most win-worthy moment, it was really difficult to pick because there was a lot for me. I'm head over heels in love with Sebastian, but this moment was just one of those that stuck with me forever. So he went through all of this trouble because her paperwork is trying to go through, and obviously he's getting ready to go to Afghanistan for war, and she's going to be documenting the war wherever her papers lead her to. He ends up putting a wrench in her paperwork so she can stay. And she finds out, and he tells her, and she freaks out. She's really upset, and again, she's kind of giving him harsh treatment, but he just wants to be with her, and this is what he says: I don't know when I'll see you again, he mumbled. I've already waited 10 years. And it was just kind of like one of those moments like, give the man what he wants. Like, for heaven's sakes, just be with him. So that was definitely my most twin-worthy moment. And I know I don't have this in our notes, girls, but I want to touch base on the war. Because her paperwork ends up going through, and she ends up being stationed in the same unit as Sebastian is. So I'm kind of throw this out there. What was your thoughts on this when you found out that she was going to be with Sebastian in the same little hut that they were in? What was your favorite moment in this? What are you thinking now?
I was thinking if it was me. Well, first, I'm way too chicken shit, so I wouldn't even be over there. But like, I'll call it like it is. But if it was me and that was my job, I would think it would be so much harder being with the person, because you see what's going on, and it's like every time like there was like a noise or like, you know, one of the attacks, I'd be like, you're there to see like what they're dealing with, which I think would be so much worse than just like being here. And, you know, you're missing them and you're, of course, thinking what's happening to them, but I wouldn't want to be there and see it. Like, I would just be a ball of anxiety the entire time. Not for myself, but, like, for the other person. So I wouldn't be very good with that. But I liked when he came into that, they had given her that small closet or room or whatever to sleep in, because she's really the only female. And I liked when he came in to, like, visit her in there, like, those moments. I thought they were very, like, a very, like, sweet, peaceful moment in the midst of a war. So.
What about you, Liv?
I liked it that in book 1, she kind of protected him. Like, she tried always to protect him from his parents. And at that point in book 2, he was the one who was protecting her in a sense. Though, like Elle said, that it was hard because how are you're surrounded. You're afraid for yourself. You're afraid for him. You're afraid for everything. But he was, in a sense, like her guardian. Like, he was the one who was sheltering her, protecting her from all the bad stuff. So that was mine. I just figured it was nice because in book 1, you know, when his father bruised up his lip, she's the one that brought him back and was like putting ice on it, and now it was like his turn to repay the favor. What about you, Barb?
So gonna go read this book again. God, having these swoony moments. The hardest part for me is I'm just too girly for war. Like, there's, you know, it's so funny. They used to call my house the recruiting office did. I'm like, you don't want me. Like, I promise you, stop calling my house. Like, I'm not joining the Army, Marine Corps, Air Force, nothing. So to me, I was just like, what a ballsy woman. I was really proud of her. But then to me, Sebastian was so in love with her that I felt like it didn't affect him, but I felt like it almost did. Because he was looking out for her so much that he was worried about her. And so to me, I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to try and protect you, and he's going to get himself hurt. And so that was my fear during the whole time that they were at war. My favorite moment was when the boys are building some contraption, and Sebastian comes over to her, and he's like, hey, you know, the boys are really impressed with you. They built you a shower. And that moment where they poked holes through the gallon water container, and she got to go have like a 2-minute shower. And I just thought, these boys are out there and they did this for her, and it was a really cool moment for me. So I wanted to touch base on that. Sorry, I forgot it in the notes. Moving on, what was our most upsetting moment? For me, in part one, it was when she finds Sebastian after his father had hit him and shaved his head, and that made my heart upset to see. Part 2, it was when after Sebastian moves in with Caro after the war, and here's the quote. He's breaking down. He's really upset. He's been completely hurt and injured, and he's not himself. And he says, don't give up on me, Caro. Please don't give up on me. I need you, baby. I love you so much. I'm so sorry. Like, he knows he's not himself, but he doesn't know any other way to be. And that was like a really upsetting moment because I felt so bad for him because she's having a hard time trying to adjust to this life. And so those were my 2 upsetting moments. What about you, Liv?
Well, mine was in book 2, what you said, when I think it's everybody's, right? When he goes back home and he's just not who he originally was. He's like lost a part of himself at the war. But for book 1 for me was the end of book 1 when she actually left him and he's sitting there and he's like, wait for me, just it's 3 years, just wait for me. And like that whole time you have like his parents are yelling, David's yelling, she's just sitting there and she's just like, really, like, we got caught. and he's just like, wait for me, just wait for me. And I'm like, that to me was just so gut-wrenching. What about you, Elle?
Mine was the same as Babs, and I found it really difficult when he came home that he wasn't himself. He's always so upbeat and positive through the whole books, and so to see him so depressed and treating her badly, which he had never done, I found difficult.
Especially because she already went through that with David.
Yes.
So in my mind, I'm like, this poor girl doesn't need this anymore. Like, Sebastian. And then she's being so patient still. And you're just like, wow, you're amazing. Like, I bow down to you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's move on to one of our regular sections that we have on our Book Boyfriend podcast, which is I Wish I Wrote That. We are 4 authors, sans one tonight. But we love reading, we love writing, and every time we read a book, we're always like, oh my God, with that fear. It's like, try it, ladies. Oh my God. No? Okay. I wish I wrote that. What was your I wish I wrote that up? Me?
Yeah. Yep.
Sorry, you're cut out. Okay.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
My I wish I wrote that was a sentence of Carol in her POV describing Sebastian, and she says, he always looked at me as if his world began and ended with me. And I just thought that was a real, very sweet sentiment, and it really encapsulated his character. So yeah, what about you, Liv?
It was very hard to pick because there's that one scene, that one sex scene where she's like, I'm going to make you jizz without saying anything or touching you. And when I do touch you, you're going to go on command. I really wish I wrote that scene. That scene was super hot and sexy. So that was my first I wish I wrote that. I'm not going to read you the whole scene because we would be here a while. But my absolutely favorite line out of this entire book, it's towards the end, and he goes, Caro, I don't understand. Why do you love me? And her reply was, just because the sky is blue and the sea is green. And I was just like, that is the perfect way to tell somebody why you love them. Like, it's just, because it's just the way the world works. It's, I love you just because. And I was just like, I really wish I wrote that. What about you, Barb?
Okay. So this is when he's on his first outing from the house after he's back from the war. Caro's taking him on a little walk, and there's a table full of Afghan men, and Caro's kind of freaking out, and they're talking in the language, and Sebastian kind of tenses. Well, then he kind of smiles and laughs, and they have a chit-chat, and they walk away, and Caro in her head says, it was like seeing the sun after a month of rain, and I dared to feel hope. I was like, bam! That right there was so powerful because it was the truth. Like, I was like, yes, Sebastian's coming back. So that was it for me. Let's get to our casting. I'm going to refrain from talking about the person that I was going to cast. And so
selection.
Our erection selection. Don't you well? Okay, because we know that our fabulous Elle has a wonderful erection selection prepared for you today. I'm going to have Liv go first, then I will go, and we will save the best for last. Liv,
all right.
Show us your man.
I don't actually have a picture because
that's right. That's fine.
That's Elle's territory, not mine.
Yeah.
So my erection selection, I had 2 for this book, and only because of these damn movies that you see. So I went with first Channing Tatum because I saw Magic Mike XXL or XXL, and everywhere I see, I just see him because, hello, he's Channing Tatum. But
he's in my bathroom, in my bedroom.
Yeah, but I really picked him because if you saw Dear John, like in the beginning of Dear John, he's like on a surfboard, and then at the end of Dear John, he's like in the war. So I was just like, oh, you're my Sebastian. I picked him, and then I picked Zac Efron. That's what it was. I picked
Love Zach.
Right? Because I picked like the younger guy because she's older.
The shaggy hair.
Yeah. What about you, Barb? Who did you pick?
So I just have to say it. So I have 2 men, and the first one is only his backside, and that is because he just showed his bare bottom to the world. on a yacht, and that is Justin Bieber. And I'm so ashamed of myself. I really am. But that backside was just beautiful. It was like just a chunk. You just wanted to dig your nails into those ass cheeks. I loved that. But my second choice, my choice for Sebastian, my erection selection is Alexander Ludwig. And he plays Cato in The Hunger Games. And I do have a picture on my phone. I'm going to post it up. See? Can we see it? Mm-hmm. I don't know why he's carrying a water gun, but I assume someone's getting soaked.
No, that's not a water gun. That's like a scuba gear. Yeah, snorkel.
Oh, I don't snorkel, so that would explain that one. Okay, give it to us, Elle.
Okay, so my erection selection, I don't know if anyone watches Vikings.
No.
Nah. Babs, do you watch Vikings? Okay, so then
I'm
you wouldn't.
still hooked on Outlander.
Okay, so you were not going to. You probably won't even believe that this is the same person, but for those of you out there who watch Vikings, you'll know Travis Fimmel, who is Ragnar Lothbrok on that show. But way back in the day, he used to be a Calvin Klein model. Mm-hmm. And so this is what I picture young Sebastian.
Oh.
Right? Isn't it perfect?
With the hair?
Yeah. So this was my young Sebastian. And I've got another picture of him with his hair tied.
This is my favorite time of the whole podcast.
Oh, yeah.
So that's my young Sebastian.
But Carol, can I keep your bra?
Caro.
And then so I also have a picture, and then so this is my older Sebastian. Same guy. This is Travis Fimmel. So this was like,
dude, that is perfect.
Right? Yeah. Like, so when I was reading this book, this was totally who I was picturing. So I was picturing
I'm going to go
Travis.
reread.
And hey, I need to pull up a picture of him now in Vikings because you guys won't even believe that it's the same person. So I don't know. I totally thought that was like very Sebastian-esque, like the younger and the older version of him. I was like,
do you not see how I'm sitting here like this? Like, gimme.
Liv and I are going to go on a Pinteresting spree. What was his name again?
Okay. So this is him now, okay? So this is him now. I'm going to show you a picture. And you're going to be like, no, it's not.
No, stop.
So let me pull it up.
I'm kind of scared. Is it going to ruin it for me?
No, he's still hot, but he's just not pretty.
Okay. Talk.
Can you? Oh yeah, sorry. Can you see him there?
Oh.
That's him now in Vikings.
I mean,
totally.
I still see the hotness though. It's just he's like
for sure. He's
makeup.
Just like rugged and dirty. Yeah.
Beard.
So anyways, yeah. So that is my and like the first time I read this, like I don't know, earlier in the year or whenever it was, like this was like the first guy I pictured. I'm like totally
sweet baby Sebastian. Delicious.
So, yes.
For shizzle.
All right, this is probably my favorite part, aside from Elle's erection selection pictures. This is Kiss, Marry, Do, which is normally Kiss, Marry, Kill, but we can't kill. Like, no. Why would you want to waste a book boyfriend like that? That is just stupid. So this is Kiss, Marry, Do. All right, who's going first?
Not it.
Okay, I'll do it.
Okay.
Okay, so I already know I'm going to marry Maxim. I need that to happen a lot.
Okay, a lot.
So Maxim's out. And now it's getting so hard to choose.
Right?
Okay, so for Do, I'm going to do... I'm going to have an orgy, actually. I'm going to have an orgy with Christian, Alec, and Mateo. I think that's a good pairing.
That's a very good pairing.
Right? Got 3 and 3, so that works. And Kiss, you know what? I got to go Archer because you just need a little Archer in your life. Like I could not pick Archer, so I'm going to kiss Archer and just be happy to leave it at that.
I feel like we need to up the kiss to something new. Like, I feel like it's not enough.
Kink.
You know?
Maybe second base?
Kink.
Second base.
I'm going to get kinky. Kinky, marry, do.
Kinky. Because kiss feels so like 7 minutes in heaven. And
I'm not kissing anybody, buddy.
More.
Yeah. Kinky's cool. Okay, who's up next?
All right, I'll go. So... I know you said you were marrying Maxim, but he was already married to me, so there's that.
Oh, you didn't hear about the divorce. Sorry.
The paperwork's hidden under my desk. Okay, I'm going to marry Maxim because, hello. and I'm going to do Sebastian because, yeah.
Oh, I totally forgot about Sebastian.
There's no way. There's no way I cannot do him. And there will be chocolate sauce involved because he likes his chocolate sauce. I know what my man likes. And I'm going to get kinky with Alec. And hopefully he wears his glasses. So, what about you, Liv?
I believe in polygamy.
Girl.
So, I'm going to be like the number one wife, and I'm going to have my husbands, and I'm going to marry Maxim because he's going to be like husband number one. Y'all can suck it. You're going to have him on the nights I have the other guys. I'm going to marry Alec and Christian and Mateo. Well, that's too many husbands. That's way too much. So
I would not. Why would you want that many?
I know.
Ew, no.
But they all have like perfect little qualities. So I'm going to marry Maxim, Alec, and Christian. I'm going to get kinky with Mateo and Casey. And then I'm going to do Archer, Sebastian, and I think that's it.
Oh, you got them all.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's a few there that I can do without, so I'm okay.
I mean, I can, but I feel like I don't show enough love to the rest of the book boyfriends. And since now we have 10, like,
it's so hard.
Spread her legs a lot.
You're going to be one tired woman. Ice bath. Let's go, Sebastian.
Just kidding.
Okay, so you have it. Our kinky marry-do. Barb's still married to Maxim. Okay, everyone, that is the end of the show. We so appreciate you for joining us tonight. Please head over to www.bookboyfriendpodcast.com and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and iTunes. Please hit us up anytime with any book boyfriend suggestions. We do love our men, and we gladly take suggestions. Most importantly, we are not a blog. We do not review. We are 4 author friends who love to read and gossip about it. But we'd love to hear from you, so please do let us know how we're doing and what you'd love more of. Everyone, good night.
Ciao.
Ciao, bellas.
Thanks for joining us. You can find out who will be on upcoming shows and what books we'll be discussing, as well as more about our hosts at www.bookboyfriendpodcast.com. See you next time when we add another boyfriend to the ranks.